Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavad Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Chaitanyam Sarvagam Sarvam Sarvabhuta Guhashayam Yat Sarva Vishayatitam Tasmai Sarva Vide Namaha. Idam rahasyam paramam parayanam Vapeta doshairabhimana varjitai Samikshikarya matirarjave sada Natattvaduksvanyamatirhi kaschana Aneka janmantara sanchitair naraha Vimuchyate jnana nimitta patakaihi Idam viditva paramam hi pavanam Nalipyate vyoma eveha karmabhi. So concluding the chapter, the teacher is blessing the seekers, the students, disciples. Idam rahasyam paramam parayanam, emphasizing the value, the preciousness of this knowledge. It is rahasyam, Upanishadaika Gamyam. It can only be known through Upanishads, through Acharya. Paramam Parayanam, the supreme goal. Therefore, showing how important it is for our life, how it is the most important, or how it is the important. If other things had some importance, then this can be called most important. But nothing else that appears important to us is really important when we really vicharata, when we think about it. Therefore, matihi sada karya. Therefore, a conviction must be developed and a commitment must always be made to this. In order to develop that conviction and a commitment, it does require a certain disposition of mind Because vyapeda doshai abhimana varjitai. Those who are free from the dosha, the extrovertedness, meaning ragadveshas, abhimana varjitai, that becoming free from ragadvesha, discovering the vairagya might create a very subtle ego also, that I am virakta, abhimana varjitai. Even the subtle ego also becomes an obstacle. When that is the state of mind, then one will see the preciousness of this. One will see how this is the only goal worth achieving in the life. And that's how vairagya of everything else, and there's a commitment for this will happen. And also recognize what is meant by freedom from extrovertedness is not only freedom from ragadveshas, but even freedom from the tendency to seek knowledge or know Ishvara as someone different from myself. There is also extrovertedness. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadi upasate. Brahman is not that which is worshipped as something this or other than the self. You are Brahman. Swanyamatahi kaschana na tattva. Anyone who looks upon Brahman as separate from oneself, or knows Brahman as separate from oneself, is not tattva, is not known the truth of Brahman. And therefore, Shuddhakramivapi unam vettattvam brahmano rupam yadi manyase svedeti. If someone thinks that he has known Brahman very well, then it is some entity, some devata, something that it takes to be Brahman, then that is only a very small fraction. Fraction is the word. Dakram. Only an insignificant aspect of Brahman you know. It is Brahman, no doubt about it. What is this Brahman? But not whole of it. And part is an insignificant thing. And what happens with the result of this knowledge? Vimucchare ajnana nimitta patakai. One becomes free from all the patakas or sins which are caused by ajnanam, ignorance, which the immediate effect is ahankara, mamakara, ragadvesha, kama, karma. So this is called pataka. Original sin is ignorance. The Christians also talk of original sin, which they describe in a different way. That Adam and Eve, united together, that's the original sin of human beings. So everybody thinks that those who are born through parents are sinners, something like that. But properly understood, that can be traced to the original sin that ignorance talks about. Vedanta talks ignorance, which is not a sin that we have committed. But effect is as though we had committed a sin, because there is suffering only. The consequence of ignorance are ahankara, mamakara, raga, dvesha, dharma, adharma, phalam, janma. Inasmuch as the consequence of ignorance is suffering, and suffering is thought to be the result of sin or papa. So ajnana nimitta patakai. The ajnanam can be called original sin if you want to, which has no reason, which has no cause, has no beginning, and therefore this has been an ongoing thing from the time beginning. Aneka janmandara sanchitai patakai. So it's an overwhelming thing. The Jiva-Atma has been struggling to become free from this again from time beginning, in his own way. Except that, in the very effort to become free from this pataka or the sin, unfortunately he creates more patakas. And therefore, this is called Maya. Devi Shesha Gunamayi Mama Maya Duratyaya. Maya creates the appearance or delusion of solution where there is a problem. And thus keeps this fellow off guard, making him believe that he is on the right path, whereas he is on the wrong path. This is called Maya. Now this is there, that's why this concept of Maya is there. This inexplicable situation is there in our life. That whereas we want to solve a problem in our life of shoka or moha, what we are doing is, it only intensifies shoka and moha. Prajna vadam bhashase gatasuna gatasumse nanu shochandi panditaha. Panditas never ever experience grief, and you are. So some kind of panditya Arjuna has when he quotes the different shastras. But the true panditya of life is not there. So to explain this, the concept of Maya comes, nothing more than that. That there is something inexplicable in our life. Where we are constantly damaging ourselves. Hinasti atmana atmanam yekecha atmahano janaha. In the process of trying to solve the problem, we are only confounding the problem. This knowledge releases one from this trap. Viditva paramami pavanam. This pavanam. All the sins are there. This is the knowledge that is purified, removes all the sins. Rujinam santarishasi. Arjuna, you cross the ocean of Rujinam or sin. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram vidyate. But what about this Maya? Will I not be trapped again? Nalipyate vyome vehe karma vihi. But does not get tainted by karma, meaning by kama, meaning by avidya, meaning by maya, meaning by delusion. Once freed is free, because once darkness is gone, it does not stay to come back when light is there. Idam jnanam acharana kasmai datavyam. This knowledge Acharya should impart to whom? Iti apekshayam, and apeksha, that is how the conclusion always with the adhikaritva is in Bhagavad Gita also. To whom it should be taught and to whom it should not be taught. Very often scriptures conclude, Acharya concludes with this, giving instruction to the disciples, the parting advice, because now the disciple himself is an Acharya. So what should he do? Or Acharya is telling everybody else. Vistuta Vishesham Adhikarinamaha. And therefore in elaborate Visheshanam, the qualification of Adhikari is stated in the next verse. Let us read the verse 72. प्रशांत चित्ताय जितेन्द्रियाय च प्रहीण दोषाय यथोक्तकारिणे गुणान्वितायानुगताय सर्वदा प्रदेयमेतत् सततं मुमुक्षवे. Pradeyam. This knowledge should be imparted. It's like an injunction, like a vidhi. Tasmai savidvan upasannaya samyak प्रशांत चित्ताय समान्विताय येनाक्षरम परमं वेद सत्यम प्रोवाचताम तत्वतो ब्रह्म विद्याम. The origin of this is in Mundaka Upanishad. Tasvidwan, the Acharya, Tasmi Upasannaya Samyaka, to the one who has properly taken refuge at the feet of the Acharya, of the Guru, to that aspirant or Jignasu. Prashanta Chittaya Samanvitaya. You can see that he enjoys a tranquility of mind, who has a great self-control over himself, meaning that he possesses Samadhi Shatka Sampatti, he possesses Mokshatvam. Thus, when there is a right adhikari, Provachatam Tattvato Brahma Vidyam, to that person, that Brahma Vidya Tattvataha must be imparted, as it should be. Tattvataha, he should say it as it is. Yena aksharam paramam veda satyam. Yena paramam aksharam satyam veda. Make sure that the aspirant comes to know the satyam, paramam satyam. That by which this knowledge can begin, that vidya should be imparted to him. Provachatam. This is like the Arthavada, but it is Vidi actually. So Pradeyam, it says here, Pravattavyam should be said, told him. So here also qualifications are stated. Prashanta Chetaya, Shanti Guna Yuktaya, Shantaha. And so the footnote says here, Vidyadhikarana Samadhi Sadhanavatve. That Vidyadhikari, a qualified aspirant or adhikari, one who is qualified for the Vidya, this knowledge, Samadhi Sadhanatve, that he should be possessed of the sadhanam, the means of Samadhi, etc. Where is the origin of this? Shanto, Dantaha, Uparataha, Titikshu, Samaheto, Bhutva, Atmaniva, Atmanam, Pashyati, Bhudanika Upanishad. So this is a source of Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. Shantaha, Dantaha, Uparataha, Titikshu, Samahita Bhutva, in one place it says, Ityasya sthane Shraddha Vitto Bhutva. So the Kanva recension of Bhudanika Upanishad, Samahita Bhutva, in the Madhyandana recension, it says Shraddha Vitto Bhutva. Tad Gunopasamhara Nyaya, Nyayam Ashritya. In the Brahma Sutra, there is a sutra which says that if you find the same topic discussed in different places with different details or information, all the information should be should be all combined. Understand that if for a given karma or ritual, information given here, information given there, which may be same or different, you should know that each one applies to all of them. Agnihotra is only one karma. So not that Agnihotra described by this shakha is different from Agnihotra described by other shakha, other ascension. So what is stated here should be also included there. That is called Gunopasamhara Nyaya. Therefore, about the same qualification, Atmaniva, Atmanam Pashyati. With this mindset, when this teaching is imparted, then the aspirant sees one's own self in oneself. Therefore, the five are stated in each one, But the sixth is different, therefore, that combined with Samadhi Shatka Sampatti. So here also 6 qualifications are stated. Prashanta Chittaya, Chitendriyaya, Prahina Doshaya, Anugataya, Yathoktakaya, Gunanvitaya, Anugataya. So here also 6 qualifications are stated. Reflecting the 6 qualifications stated in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. That's what the Tika says, the Tippani says. So Prashanta Chittaya, Shanti Guna Yuktaya, possessed of the attribute of Shanti or tranquility. Jitendriyaya, Dantaya, one who has mastery over the sense organs. So Bahyendriya Nigraha, Damaha, Antarendriya Nigraha, Shamaha. Prahina Doshaya, one who has eliminated, removed all the doshas. So what is the dosha? Karmashaya, all the sins. One who has made the mind free from all the impurities, all the sins. How? Ishvara prasada hata samasta kalmashaya. One who has been able to become free from all impurities, kalmashas, sins, which are hata, destroyed by Ishvara prasada, by acquiring the grace of Ishvara. One who has managed to, and that is, in fact, that is the means of becoming free from impurities, is Ishvara prasada, grace of Ishvara. The worship of Ishvara is a means of antahakana shuddhi. Ishvara prasada samasta kalmashaya. When that prasada of Ishvara is gained, paritoshita, when Ishvara is propitiated, when he is made happy, when you do something that he likes, then he returns the favor by showering his grace upon you. What does he like? Ane anushta yajnari. So yajnena danena tapasa anashakena. Yajna, dana, tapasarya, vedana vachanena, recital of the Vedas. So these are the duties prescribed in the Vedas, meaning prescribed by Ishvara. Therefore, when we do something that he prescribed and what he likes, then he is pleased. Therefore, yajnadi paritoshita Ishvara. Yajnadi, that are included yajnam, yajnena, dana. And this is aneka janma anusthita. Because the kalmasha or the papa have been accumulated in countless births, therefore it also will take number of births to eliminate the papa that has been accumulated. So this is called prahina doshaya. Thus one was made one's mind free from all these defects. Yathokta karane shastrokta swadharmasya yatha shastram anushthatre. Yathokta karane, who follows instructions. Yathokta karane, whose instructions of the shastra? What instructions? Vidya and Nisheda. So one who sincerely follows the enjoyments in the form of Vidya and Nisheda by the Shastra, Shastrokta, that is called Dharma. Swadharma is complying with the injunctions of the scriptures in the form of Vidya and Nisheda. Shastrokta Swashayan Swadharma Vigunaha. By the word Swadharma, Lord Krishna means the duties that are assigned to you. Niyatam kuru karmatvam. What is enjoined? So Shastra is the ultimate authority. Tasmat Shastra Vidhanoktam. Lord Krishna concludes the 16th chapter. Kartavyam, that you must do what the Shastra enjoins. So, Shastrokta Swadharmasya, one whose dharma is what is said by Shastra. Yatha Shastram Anusho, Yatha Shastram Anushthatre. Swadharma, Shastroktasya Swadharmasya Yatha Shastram Anushthatre. One Anushthatre who complies with the Swadharma, one's own dharma. Why Swadharma? Varnashrama dharma. Based on Varna and Ashrama, whatever is one's dharma, the duty at a given point in time, that is what one performs. This is called Yathokta. One who is obedient to the scriptures. Gunanvitaya, possessed of the virtues. Vidya, Vinay, Arjavadi, Gunayuktaya, who has Vidya, the study of the scriptures, Vinaya, the humility, Vidya, Vinayana Shobhate. Vidya shines only when accompanied with humility. Arjavadi, Gunayuktaya, Arjava, again it came. Straightforwardness, honesty, transparency, ideally. Arjava means transparency. What is in the mind is in the speech, in the words. We have said earlier how Mahatma Gandhi, when morning was crying and said, look, this is what I did in a dream. He just declared. So that was Satya was interpreted as transparency. Anyway, whatever, so this is Arjava. Because Brahman is transparent, self-evident, never hides itself. So mind also should become like that. Sarvada Anugataya. Anugata, obedient to the teacher. Gurum Anusata. Obedience to Shastra and obedience to the teacher. Sarvada Dirghakalam Satatamcha, for a long time and also continuously. One who is obedient to the teacher. So 6 qualifications are stated. Evam Vidaya, the one who is of this nature, Mumukshave, Satatam Pradeyam. Anyway, Satatam is taken as Sarvada, Satatam Pradeyam. So Mumukshave, Moksha Matra Icchavate, Id Atma Jnanam, Guna Pradeyam, Pratipadayitavyamiti. So Satatam is included with the Anugataya. Sarvada Satatam Anugataya. That's how it is done. And so one Dirghakalam is also added. Dirghakalam Nairantaryam Adara. So Mumukshave, who is Moksha Matra Icchavale. The one who has no agenda other than moksha is called Mumukshu. Is Atma Jnanam Guruna Pradeyam. This knowledge should be imparted to a mukshu like that by Guru. Pratipadayitavyam must be expounded before this aspirant. Now the footnote here of this qualification continues on the page, next page also, here in my book, on page 278. Where moksha dharma. So Mahabharata has a very important section called Shantipura and Moksha Dharma. Very important Upadeshas are given. A few verses are quoted from a dialogue between sage Vasishtha and King Janaka. Shraddhanvitaya gunanvitaya parapavadad viraktaya nityam Vishuddha yogaya buddhaya nityam kriyavate cha kshamine hitaya vivikta shilaya vidhipriyaya vivadahinaya bahushrutaya vijanate chevana chahita kshame damecha shaktaya samecha deyam. Deyam. Long list of virtues. In case Samadhi Shatka Sampati is not clear to us, so many of the dimensions of how we should cultivate a personality, how we should be shaping ourselves, how we should become our own sculptor, and keeping this in mind, constantly shape ourselves. Shraddhanvitaya, possessed of Shraddha, Atha Gunanvitaya, possessed of the virtues, Parapavadat viraktaya nityam, and always free from censuring ninda of others. So finding fault with others or announcing them, declaring them. Vishuddha yoga, Vishuddha yogine, one enjoy that concentration of mind. Buddhaya the wise, nityam kriyavate, one always follow the injunctions of scriptures. Kshamine, who is forgiving by nature. Hita hitaishane, so not only forgives but hitaishane, who always reaches out for the welfare or well-being of the others. Vivikta shila, who enjoys, so vivikta deshitvam, meaning that who enjoys solitude. Vidhipriyaya, who loves the vidhi or injunctions, meaning who follow the injunctions of scriptures. Vivadahinaya, one who does not indulge into all kinds of disputes, even philosophical disputes and stuff like that, meaning he doesn't want to assert himself that I am right, etc. So that vivada of proving oneself right and for others wrong, free from that. Bahushrutaya, who is very well learned, who has heard many scriptures, listened to. Vijanate, therefore knows exactly how to do things. Karma can be performed or any vyavahara can be done by the person who is well versed with the things. Bahushrutaya, Vijana, therefore well versed, well informed. Nacha ahitakshame, na ahitakshame. One who is not capable of hurting anybody. Ahitakshama is hurting, na ahitakshame. One who doesn't have tendency to hurt others, free from the tendency to hurt others. Damecha, one of self-control. Damecha shaktaya, who enjoys dama and shama. Deyam. This knowledge should be imparted to someone like that. And who it should not be given to? Etaihi gunai hinatamena deyam. One who is so devoid, hinatame. Everybody possesses this gunas in some measure, but who one is in the minimum measure, very lowly, then it should not be given. Etat param brahm vishuddhamahuhu. This param vishuddham param brahma, etat should not be given to unqualified person. Why? Na shreyasa yokshadi tadushe kritam. It does not benefit the one to whom it is imparted. Na shreyasa yokshati. By imparting or sharing this knowledge with unqualified person, you are not helping him to join with shreyas or his own well-being. Tadushe kritam dharma pravaktaram apatradana. Dharma pravaktaram, one who is pravakta of dharma. So one is the imparter of this knowledge also. Apatradana, because this has been imparted to an unqualified or non-deserving person, it does not help the person who imparts, nor does it help the person who receives this, meaning it hurts both. It hurts both the teacher as well as the disciple. But what about temptation? Prithvi mimam yadapi ratna purnam dadyat. Even an unqualified person offers wealth to the entire earth full of ratna, or the precious stones. Na dadyat dadyan deyantu idam avrataya. He gives all this but doesn't follow vrata, doesn't have discipline. To that person, even if he offers all this wealth, should not be imparted. Jitendriyaye tat asamshayam pradayam. But hey Narendra, hey Janaka, this must definitely be imparted to one who enjoys the mastery over himself. So there also these qualifications are stated in great detail. Evam vidha shishya महावाक्येन अवगमितम् आत्म तत्त्वं कथम् अवगच्छति? Evam vidha shishya, shishya or disciple, who is thus, who enjoys these qualifications. Mahavakyena avagamitam atma tattva, that is made known by Mahavakya, that is revealed by Mahavakya. Avagama means knowledge. So the truth or the atma tattva that is made known by the Mahavakya, tattvamasi, etc. Shishya katham avagacchati, a qualified disciple. How does he gain the knowledge of this atma tattva? By this Mahavakya. By the Mahavakya, whose primary purpose is to make known the atma tattva. How does the qualified aspirant know it? Kim va phalam prapnoti. How do they know it? And having known, what is the phalam or the benefit or reward that he gets? It apekshayam. You have that apeksha, that expectation, desire to know. Then that is replied in the next verse, parasyeti. So verse 73 says, Parasya dehena yatha abhimanita Parasya tadvat paramarthamiksha idam hi vijnanamativa nirmalam samprapya mukto bhavecha sarvatah. So how does one know the true nature of the self? Parasya dehe yatha n abhimanita. Yatha parasya anyasya dehe parasya. Next line. Na abhimanita. Just as one does not have the identification with the body of the other person. Parasya one, parasya of the other. Just as one does abhimanita. Aham mamat abhimanitvam. This notion of I and mine, just as one does not have with reference to the body of the other, the one who is known to be different from myself. When the distinction is very clear that this is not I, and therefore I do not have the notion of aham mama, I and mine, with reference to the body of the one who I know is other. Maybe my son, someone close to me, I may not be quite other. So I may have some abhimanam with reference to that one. But rest, I know they are not I. Therefore, I don't know. Nothing happens to me and something happens there also. That person is happy, unhappy, this, that, and what not, doesn't affect me. That is called freedom from abhimana. If something happens, then there's some abhimana is there. In my desh was something, some connection is there. Then what happens there affects me in some way. But when it's para, someone different, with whom I have no connection at all, no emotional connection, or no other connection, mainly emotional connection. Then what happens there doesn't affect me. What happens in Ukraine may not affect me, possibly. But slowly they're showing pictures, everybody is, they've acquired the affection of everybody. So everybody suffers. That's called the media. That's how we arouse the sympathy of everybody also. That's another way of fighting that battle. One way is by carpeting, warm carpeting, carpet bombing they call it, whatever. Other way is arousing this kind of the sympathy, worldwide sympathy. Anyway, but parasya dehe na yatha abhimanita. Just as I don't have aham mama bhava, the body of the one who I know as another one, tadvat swadehepi. So also in one's own body, or what is thought of one's own body also, one does not have aham mama. Therefore, to explain, give us the idea of what is meant by freedom from identification. The body of another is given as an example. Same relationship or perception I have about this body, which I call I and mine. How does it happen? Paramartham ikshacha dehatariktam atmatattvam iksha alochya. When Atma Tattva that is distinct from the Dehadi, when there is known as I. As long as Atma Tattva is not known as I, so long I will be someplace. I has to be somewhere. When that I is now focused or centered upon what the true nature of I is, then no more the I is focused upon what is not the true nature. The reason why the I is focused in body and things related to body is because the true nature of I is not recognized. In short, there is constantly a notion of I. The first notion that arises by identification with something. If that identification is not with Atma, it is going to be with Anatma. So Deha refers to Deha, Indriya, Mana, Buddhi, Sanghata. Paramartham Iksha Alochya. Recognizing Paramartham Dehatariktam Atma Tattvam. The Atma Tattva which is distinct from the Upadi of Deha, etc. Abhiman Rahita hai, devoid of complete devoid of identification, recognizing that to be an Atma. Then what is the recognition? That my perception or relation with this body is similar to the relation I have with somebody else's body. That kind of objectivity is created. Samiksha cha chakarat tat pratipadaka vedanta vakyani alocheti grushyate. So atma tattvam alochya. So how do you do the alochanam or the thinking or contemplation on Atma? Tat pratipadaka vedanta vakyani alochya iti. So deliberating upon the Vedanta Vakyas that expound Atma Tattva. How do you contemplate upon Atma Tattva? By contemplating upon the meaning of the Vedanta Vakyas, of which the subject matter is Atma Tattva. Therefore, athato Brahma Jignasa, that Jignasa, that desire for Brahma, or Brahma Vichara, then now we will start the contemplation of Brahma. How do we do that? By the contemplation upon the Vakya, or passages of the Upanishad, which expound Brahma. Idam vijnanam ativa nirmalam. vidam idam vijnanam purut sakshakaram samprapya. So ativa nirmanam. This vijnanam which is ever pure, samprapya, samyak prapya. Sarvato mukto bhavet sarvatah sarvatah tada eva sarvatah mukto bhavet. Gaining his knowledge, right then he becomes liberated in every way. Sarvatah. Nirasta ajnana tatkarya samskara paramananda anubhava brahmatma swarupa bhavet ityartha. So, mukto bhavet. He becomes free. So how does he become free? What does he become? Brahmatma swarupo bhavet. Discovers Atma as Brahman or Brahman is Atma. What is Brahman? Paramananda Anubhava. So Brahman, that is the nature of Paramananda, and Anubhava, the very consciousness, the very self. How does it happen? Nirasta ajnana tatkarya samskara. When one has dispelled the ignorance, the samskaras, the habitual error, the dehata buddhi, it is product of the ignorance. So not only ignorance goes away by the knowledge of Mahavakya, but the habitual error caused by ignorance, caused samskara of vasana, that also one is eliminated. Paramananda, therefore one experiences Paramananda, which was only obstructed by the ajnanam and the samskara, dehata buddhi. Brahmatma rupo bhavet. So, mukto bhavet. So, atha mukto bhavet. This is called mukti. Brahmatma rupo bhavet. One becomes of the nature of Brahman, which is Paramananda, where all the obstacles of ignorance and habitual errors are eliminated. This is a reward of this knowledge. And so, recognizing this, one has to strive, do whatever is required. Kimiti guna visheshavat shishya parikshanam guroho. Why does Sadhu insist that the Guru must necessarily examine the qualifications of Shishya? Guna Visheshavat Shishya Parikshanam. That Shishya possesses these virtues, that's what the Guru should make sure before imparting knowledge. Why? Yasmai kasmai chachishaya kasmad vidyanadiyate. How come the Vidya is not imparted to just anyone and everyone who comes and takes refuge into Shishya? Why not it is imparted to anyone and everyone, any Shishya, anyone and every Shishya? And why should the Guru have to evaluate the Shishya based on the virtues? So the next verse is Nahi halabo vyadikosti kaschana Swarupa labhat saito hinanyatah. Nadeyamaindradavirajyatodhikam Swarupa labham tvaparikshayatnatah. नहीं है कश्चन अव्यधिकः लाभ अस्ति स्वरूप लाभात्. यह स्वरूप लाभात् कश्चन अव्यधिकः लाभ नास्ति. There is no लाभ or gain greater than the gain of the swarupa of one's own nature. So Tikakara says, what is swarupa labha? Swarupam Atma Tattvam Labhyate Anena. So, natu Swarupasya Labha, Swarupam Labhyate Anena. That's how it is explained like Bahuri Samasa. Not Tatpurusha. Swarupam Atma Tattvam Labhyate Anena iti Swarupa Labha. So, not Labha of Swarupa, but that by which Swarupam is gained. Tattva Jnanam. So, Swarupa Labha is not attainment of Swarupa, it is a means of attainment, Tattva Jnanam. Tasmat Abhyadiko Labha Kasana Kopi Nasti. So, Tattva Jnanam is Atma Jnanam is Atma Labha anyway. There is no reason to say that it is Tattva Jnanam really. Swarupa Labha is Swarupa Labha, Atma Labha. Because Tasmat Abhyadikaha Labha Nasti, Kopi Nasti. There is no Labha Deva Manushadi Bhava Paramparayam Nasti. In any parampara, beginning from Deva and Manusha and all these Bhava and Janma, there is nowhere this Labha greater than the Atma Labha or attainment of one's own self. Atma Labha anna param vidyate iti smrute. So Swarupa Labha would have been saying Swarupasya Labha. That would have been quite all right. It is not that Tattva Jnanam is the greatest Labha, Atma is the greatest Labha. Anyway, so since there is no great Labha greater than the Labha, the attainment of one's own self, anywhere in the among Devatas and Pitrus and anybody else, for anybody, you want to, suppose you become Devata, you think you will be greater Labha? No. If you are Devata also, there is no Labha greater than Atma Labha. Atma Labha anna param vidyate, apastamba smriti came earlier. In the verse 1644, and so same was quoted, Atma Labha na param vidyate iti na paro labha. Atma Labha na paro labha. There is no labha greater than Atma Labha. Iti. I don't know why doing this smriti, but anyway, so it says, in case you want validating of this simple thing, the Atma is limitless and therefore there cannot be a Labha greater than Atma Labha anyway. Saito and then Saito Hinanyata. Sa Labha Itaha, and that Labha is Vedanta Vakya Nanyataha. Remember that Swarupa Labha, Atma Labha, for which means is of course Tattva Jnanam. So Atma Labha is the end which can be gained by the means of Tattva Jnanam. So that is why Ito hi Nanyata. The reason why the Swarupa Labha is interpreted Tattva Jnanam, because Tattva Jnanam cannot be obtained from anywhere else than Vedanta. Sa Labha Itaheva Vedanta Vakyata. The Labha of Atma Labha, is by Tattva Jnanam. And Tattva Jnanam cannot be from any source other than Vedanta, Mahavakya. Vedanta Vakyat Mahavakyat Nanyataha Anyasmat Shastrantara na bhavati. This is only Shastra which teaches the identity of Atma and Brahma. All the Shastras are based on duality, and therefore you cannot gain this knowledge from any Shastra other than Vedanta. Meaning any Shastra that teaches non-duality is called Vedanta. But we do not have any Shastra that so clearly teaches the identity of Brahma and Jiva and Brahma. He Yasmat, because this is so, because from the Vedanta Shastra alone this Labha can be gained, Tattva Jnanam. Therefore, Nadeyam, because even Indra, kingdom of Indra also is nothing in comparison to this Atma Labha. Tasmat Yatnataha, the last word, Yatnataha. Yatna Shishyam Apariksha, without examining the Shishya. without evaluating the Shishya. Like Yamaraja did for Nachiketa. He evaluated the Shishya. Just to see if there is anywhere in any corner of his mind any temptation for anything worldly is there or not. And there were all the temptation that anything that can tempt a human being was all presented before Nachiketa. The pleasures of this world, the pleasures of the other world, to see whether you strike some nerve somewhere, oh yes, that I want, okay, have it then. No? Tavayavaha, tavanritya gite. Keep your vehicles, your dance, your music with you. Don't give me, I don't even have it, touch it. Don't give me. So that is how pariksha. There's one place where you find the pariksha of the Shishya elaborately. Elsewhere in some way or the other is there, but then generally when you find that the Shishya has a keen desire for knowledge, that also it becomes a pariksha. Like Shvetaketu, who was imparted knowledge when he sought that knowledge of that by knowing which everything is known. Or Indra also sought the knowledge after a lot of tapasya. Shishyam aparikshya Swarupa labham jnana nadeyam. Swarupa labham means tattva jnana again. That is why nadeyam. So therefore Tikakara interpreted the Swarupa labha as tattva jnanam. Although nahi labho vyadit, that Swarupa labha should have been Swarupa labha. But in the fourth line, where Swarupa labha means tattva jnanam. So Swarupa labham yatnata pariksha nadeyam, yatnataha pariksha. That means the teacher should do what is necessary to examine the Shishya and the fitness of the Shishya before imparting his knowledge. But generally they always give you, the Vidya can be given by Avidya or by Dhanam. So no way, not this knowledge. Na deyam aindradapi rajyato adhikam. Aindradapi rajyata adhikamiti. This is greater than the kingdom of sovereignty of even Indra. Iti visheshanena. So, from Chandogya Upanishad, pranayaya van antevasine. So, pranayaya antevasine deyam. Pranayaya, one who is competent. Antevasi, one who means that who has completely surrendered himself and committed himself to knowledge and service of the teacher. So to that person, this knowledge should be imparted. Nanyasmai kasmai chana, not anybody else. Yadyapi, asma, what is asma? Asmai, imam, advihi, parigrahita, dhanasya purnam, dadyat. Again, da covers the, controls the, governs the fourth case. So, asmai. To this one. Imam advihi parigrahitam, dhanasya purnam, dadyat. Imam means this earth. Advihi parigrahitam is surrounded by the ocean, the entire earth. Dhanasya purnam, and filled with all the wealth. Meaning that dhan dhanyam, everything is there, dhanam dhanyam. Dadyat, even if someone offers to compensate this knowledge, in return for this knowledge, someone offers the entire earth filled with all the wealth. Etadeva tato bhuyah. This knowledge is greater than even, the more valuable than even the value of the whole earth filled with wealth. And therefore, even if someone offers this In return for the knowledge, this should not be imparted and should be certainly given to the one who is qualified. So this is the style of the scriptures, where the Upadesha is concluded with also instruction of who should you share this knowledge. The teacher instructs the disciple that who should you share this knowledge with and who you should not share with. That clear instruction also is given. This is very traditional, meaning that it is in keeping with these scriptural injunctions. And you may say, Swami, we are not following it. That's a different matter here. But then, this is traditionally, and then there are some who follow this tradition today. Then we don't like them. The Shankaracharyas follow this tradition even today. And therefore, this knowledge will not be imparted to anybody and everybody, not in public, only in private. And that seems to quite be in contrast with all, the pracharakas who are going out in public. So when Bada Swami started doing that, a lot of opposition was there, and then he said that this is a knowledge that even this fellow needs. What you call unqualified fellow, he needs this most. Meaning this is a knowledge that one requires to live life. And therefore it should be given. So that is the view which prevails in sharing this knowledge with everybody. But otherwise, traditionally, this is the most precious thing, cannot be given. Even Christ also said, don't throw your pearls before the swines or something. Yeah. Don't throw pearls before swines. And so they say, don't just throw it, give it to anybody and everybody. And because it will, as Moksha Dharma said, it will hurt the one who receives and one who imparts. Iti Shodasham Parthiva Prakaranam. That's how the Parthiva Prakaranam, 16th chapter of UpadeshSahasri is concluded here. Both the text as well as the Tika. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah. Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.